Hey everybody, we're back here at the Green Valley Ranch Resort just outside of Las Vegas for the second and final day of Media Days. I am Davis Potter, Wyoming beat writer for the Casper Star-Tribune and Pokes Authority. After all six West Division teams spoke yesterday, the six Mountain Division teams took their turn today, and obviously included Wyoming coach Craig Bowl and Logan Wilson and Cooper Roth, who spoke as their player representatives. We'll get to some of what the players and coaches had to say today, but another sort of newsy day, just from a league-wide standpoint. Mountain West Commissioner Craig Thompson said yesterday that the new bowl lineup for the conference for the next six-year bowl cycle would be announced today, and it was, and the Mountain West is getting back to its full allotment of six bowls for the next bowl cycle, which will begin with the 2020 season and run through 2025. Obviously, sort of the highlight of that is the new bowl game in Los Angeles. That will pit the Mountain West against the Pac-12, so a Power 5 opponent coming for the Mountain West. Again, that bowl is essentially taking the place of the Las Vegas Bowl, which is moving to an all Power 5 conference matchup in the future. But the new bowl game in Los Angeles, there has not been a exact date set on when that game is going to be played, whether before Christmas, after Christmas. But that bowl game will get the first selection among the Mountain West Bowl eligible teams each year during the bowl cycle. So even if or that's assuming that the Mountain West champion is not the highest ranked Group of 5 champion, and thus automatically qualifies for the Access Bowl. So, again, assuming that doesn't happen, the Los Angeles Bowl will get the first pick among the Mountain West Bowl eligible teams. So, Mountain West getting back to the six allotted bowl slots, obviously a pretty big deal considering Wyoming was left out last year when there was a shortage on bowl spots. But as far as what some of the players and coaches talked about today, mainly talked to obviously Wyoming and Colorado State some, just with the rivalry there. But the big news for Wyoming was the fact that C.J. Johnson has elected not to play his senior year. If Wyoming fans, I'm sure will remember, the senior wide receiver went down with an ACL injury in the Potato Bowl back in 2017 and missed most of last season. And that's a big blow for this team, for this offense in particular, because he was really a big play threat for them. Now, obviously, we won't know now how he would have looked coming back this year off that knee injury. But this was a guy that averaged over 16 yards per reception for his career. 10 of his career, or 51 career receptions, went for touchdowns. He led them in touchdown receptions in that 2017 season. So this was a guy that they were counting on to come back and be a big play threat on the outside for a receiving core that still has a lot of questions and did not have that big play threat at all last year. And a receiving core last year that really struggled. And you still have some seniors there with Austin Conway, Rocket Ismail, and John Okwali. But Craig Bowl talked about today how they're really going to need that tight end group to step up, with Josh Harshman, who's also coming back from a knee injury, but you have the youngsters, Nate Wyman and Jackson Marquette, who, Craig Bowl was really high on this spring. Some bigger guys, go 6'6", 6'7", about 250, 260 pounds, and they're really going to need those guys to develop even quicker now if some of those wideouts on the outside can't step up and kind of fill some of that production that they were expecting to get from CJ this year. But, tough luck thing, man. They just, this spring, Craig said he didn't suffer a physical setback this spring, but he did not progress as much as he thought he would, and the team sort of expected him to. And now he's hanging it up, and it's just, disappointing, for a guy that worked, so hard for a year and a half to get back healthy for his senior year, and for it to end that way, man, is, obviously a disappointing note to end your career on. Some other things, Xavier Valladay, Craig Bowl said will start the fall as the number one tailback. Obviously, there's going to be some competition there with Trey Smith, the Louisville graduate transfer, who comes in with and is immediately eligible with 1 year left. But they're gonna look at some of these three true freshmen that they have coming in too, and one of those, Craig Bowl said, at least one will probably end up contributing in some way this fall. So that's going to be something interesting to look for. Obviously, that they want a rotation back there in college football. You need more than one running back anyway. Xavier being sort of on the lighter side. I fully expect some sort of rotation there. Even if maybe Xavier goes into the fall as number one back, I think you're going to see, two, probably even three running backs, or sort of divvy up those carries among two or three backs back there, because you're going to need that throughout the course of a year. Some consistent chatter today. I mentioned the border war, but some consistent chatter, on both sides today. Cooper Roth mentioned the fact that he would love to go 4-0 against Colorado State. Obviously, Wyoming brings a 3-game winning streak into this year's game in the series. So, on the other side with Colorado State, talking to their players, obviously that's one game that they have not won in their careers, and they obviously every team would love to win every game. But that's one game that they obviously both sides have circled. But for Colorado State, obviously that there's a lot of motivation and inspiration to come out and beat Wyoming, because obviously with those guys and particularly their upperclassmen like their quarterback Colin Hill, they have not done that yet. So also a very important game. Just from a recruiting standpoint. Wyoming obviously does not produce a lot of FBS talent. They don't sign a whole lot of guys from Wyoming, but Colorado is a huge part of their recruiting base and obviously their geographical footprint. And obviously, when you have success in that series, you enhance your profile and become more attractive to the players that you're competing with. Colorado State and even Air Force, to sign each year. So, obviously a big deal in that sense. But just talking to Craig Bowl today, a lot of talk about where this Wyoming program is entering his 6th year at the helm, and mentioned the fact that they've had 3 straight non-losing seasons. Missed out on a bowl game last year when they became bowl eligible, but Craig Bowl at this point has a lot higher expectations for this program and trying to turn it into a more consistent winner. And he talked pretty honestly about that today, and the fact that this program is, he thinks this team can be pretty good this year, but he's also looking long term and trying to avoid the ebbs and flows and the inconsistency. When it comes to winning games over the course of a season that Wyoming sort of been known for, particularly before he got here. Now the first 2 years weren't good for him, but sort of a rebuilding process where he was trying to instill his culture and get his players in here. Now these last 3 years, they've yet to have a non-losing season, but last year they needed obviously that 4-game winning streak at the end of the year just to get there. So, not where they want it to be. He wants it to be to a point where he doesn't want to put their postseason fate in another, and leave it up to the process, and whether. With the bowl tie-ins, and are we going to get in? Considering we've only got 6, and some years maybe there's 7. Because he said about last year. If they just won one more game and got the 7 wins, they would have been in easy. I mean, they were the last team to gain bowl eligibility in the conference. So, still a work in progress in terms of the expectations that he has for a program and where he wants this program to be. But I think that'll wrap it up here from the Green Valley Ranch Resort in this year's Media Days. Please check out trib.com, pokesauthority.com for all of our coverage from Media Days. We have more coming. So make sure you bookmark those pages and and stay locked in for all of our coverage here. Going to try to get a podcast recorded, going even into more detail, breaking down media days, and maybe looking forward to the season, because Wyoming's fall camp opens in a little more than a week. So we are essentially here. Football season, I should say, is essentially here. So, please stay locked in, and we will catch you later. Continue to check out pokesauthority.com and trib.com.